I'm Kathy Buccio.
And I'm Derek Lata. Joining us in Smart Life today to break down teens, not easy, cell phones and social media is Dr. Paula Levine, a psychologist and founding director of Miami Counseling Resource Center. Thank you for being here, Paula.
My pleasure.
What are some of the challenges that teens have these days now when it comes to social media?
Fear of missing out.
FOMO.
I keep using that expression, FOMO, but they just have to be everywhere with everybody all the time, and it's impossible. And had they not known, they wouldn't have known what they were missing, right. But they get to know everything.
But our social skills, I say, obviously they start at a very young age, but I think it's during that teen period that you really start developing those social skills. But now, with social media, right. What are you developing?
You're developing, a greater ability to have eye contact with a screen that is not very good for the brain. And you're 100% right, those years between ages 11 and 21, particularly 11 to 25, that's when we learn to talk to people. Elementary school is elementary school, we're playing. In high school, we are talking to each other, we're talking to our teachers, we're learning how to communicate with, ultimately with our professors, we're talking more and more to our parents rather than less. We're not doing that when we're all hooked.
And when you're on that screen, I mean, I'm thinking depression, I'm thinking anxiety, your life becomes, I don't know, it's like, I call it, it's not reality.
I was going to
go ahead, please.
I was going to give the teens kind of the benefit of the doubt, but I guess they have less social skills now, teens?
You know what they say about studies. We don't know about the studies till 10 years from now, but studies, this is what studies are looking at. You mentioned depression, anxiety. Here's one that I didn't know about till I did my homework. Sleep deprivation, possible weight gain, which we'll talk about in a little bit. Envy, again, the fear of missing out, and communication, particularly lack of social skills. So those are the 6 major criteria or bullet points that every article is focusing on now. I was really surprised to hear about the sleep deprivation, but of course it makes sense.
Right.
Okay, like I said before, we compare our worst with somebody else's best. Like I said, the fear of missing out. Does that affect how teens view themselves and how they're going to be in the future as adults?
So what the studies are saying is, if you are a teen who already has a pretty high measure of self-esteem, you feel pretty good about yourself, social media will enhance that because you put yourself out there and you get positive feedback.
Yes.
And you get into these positive feedback loops with Snapchat or Instagram or even texting. If you suffer from low self-esteem, however, your self-esteem is going to get worse because then you have the FOMO. You have what everybody else is doing and achieving and accomplishing and the schools they're getting into, and that's not happening for me.
And it's not only that, as you said, it's the likes, if I post this picture, how many likes will it get? And you measure your validation of your self-worth with those likes.
Right.
So that can be a bad spiral.
So one of my favorite quotations in life is from Franklin Delano Roosevelt, and he said, "Comparison is the thief of joy."
It is.
Very nice, I like that.
These
Remember that.
kids are playing a comparison game. They have, there's so many expressions, Instagram envy and Snapchat envy, and I'm not as good as the rest of you. I'm not the best athlete on the field, and I'm not the prettiest girl in the room.
They're not living in the moment because you're living comparing.
Yes.
Speaking about envy, somebody who has low self-esteem, they will build themselves up by bullying somebody else. They can sense who does not have high self-esteem, and they'll bully them online. Do we see that very often?
Yes, I've had a few cases where I really had to deal with cyberbullying.
Wow.
It's a little scary, and especially as parents, you think about that cyberbullying. But why do you think there is such an increase in suicide as well when it comes to something like cyberbullying?
Well, do you know about the Netflix movie 13 Reasons Why?
Yes.
So there's a contagion factor. If you didn't know anything about cyberbullying, you wouldn't think to be a cyberbully yourself. But I think you're right. When you have low self-esteem, what do? We pick on somebody, and we can get away with it anonymously online, and not the way we could have in the classroom or in the out playing in the fields. A teacher would catch us, or a guidance instructor would say, "You're being very harsh with that other child." But that's not happening anymore because we can do it online.
I have a daughter who just started. She was homeschooled for many years. Now she's going to school, regular school. And we can't see what's going on.
Right.
So we don't know bullying or bullying. How can we, what tips would you give parents so they can talk to the children so the children come forth and say, I'm being bullied or I'm worried about this?
Right,
Is there
because
any
sometimes
tips?
they keep it to themselves.
Of course, they're afraid to say it.
So that's true for anything. We just have to have, don't be on your iPhone when your kids are finished their day, number one. Number two, when everybody comes home at the end of the day, we're all at the dinner table, put the phones away and have communication. So really, how was your day? And really, what was going on in school? And make sure that the questions are open-ended. So if the child is being picked on or bullied or being made to feel badly about themselves in any way, it's likely to come up in a family conversation.
You think it's wise that we check their social media accounts on Instagram? Is that a good thing?
I mean,
or
can
is that-
parents stalk their kids?
A rule of thumb for me is if you feel that their screen time is much too much, particularly on one app, that you help them detox from that app. We have control over what our kids are downloading. Yes, I've had parents say no more Instagram, and they take their kids off Instagram. I've also had adults take themselves off Instagram because they know what it's doing for them. It's
I do
not
that
a good
actually.
thing.
I detox from my
Yeah.
Instagram and I take it off my phone. I'll do like a 1-week cleanse.
Right.
We can keep on talking for hours.
keep on talking.
She's
Oh,
amazing.
so much
She's so
more.
interesting. I keep on learning things. Thank you for joining us.